Irrawaddy River beckons us back. Imagine steaming up the Irrawaddy in the 1800s aboard a magnificent old flotilla boat. Imagine a link to that romantic past. That link is the faithfully restored ship, the royal vessel Panda, operated by author and historian Paul Strachan.
My great-grandfather on my mother's side worked for the Irrawaddy flotilla way back in the 1910s, 1920s, and we'd always had this dream, even a fantasy, of recreating an Irrawaddy flotilla type vessel. And we did a lot of research. We went to the National Maritime Museum in London and we looked at old photographs of what these ships were like. There are one or two models. We looked at the models. We looked at the drawings and plans. In fact, the shipyard who built this ship is still in existence, Yarrow's in Glasgow. We went to Sir Eric Yarrow, who's in his 80s, and he remembered building it, and he found all the plans. And right down to the furnishings and the cabin details, as far as possible, we tried to recreate what an original steamer would have been like. Our whole scheduling is arranged around the water levels. This time of year, October and November, is very good for going up to Bamo. Then December, January, February, we do the middle part, Pagan, Mandalay, and down south to Prome. And that's also very interesting. More of cultural interests, archaeological sites, temples, monasteries, that sort of thing.
As we steam northward, another bend in the river reveals the Chindwin, a major river and tributary to the Irrawaddy. Up the Chindwin is the city of Monyawa. Monyawa, with its busy jetty, was the site in World War II where the Japanese cleared the town with mortar fire in pursuit of the British retreating up the Chindwin. High on the hill above Monyawa is a Yalantayar pagoda with its immense reclining Buddha. It is over 600 feet in length and is the largest in Southeast Asia. Nearby is the Hindu-style Tanbode Pagoda. Enshrined within, in every ledge and corner, are over 500,000 images of Buddha. As we leave the sights on the Chindwin River, we continue up the Irrawaddy on our way to Mandalay. The name Mandalay is a name that captures your imagination, a name that evokes an unimaginable kingdom. Indeed, Mandalay is the very heart of Myanmar, the heart of Myanmar's culture and artistry, the heart of everything Burmese. In the heart of hearts is the fabled Golden City, a city within a city, a palace, a fort. Built in 1857 by King Mingun Bell, it is surrounded by thick brick walls and a wide, gracious moat. Mandalay was named after sacred Mandalay Hill that rises northeast of the city. It was here that Buddha himself predicted that a great Buddhist city would be built at its foot. And in fact, Mandalay is the Buddhist religious center of the country. The world's official Buddhist Bible, also known as the world's largest book, resides at the foot of this hill. Here are 729 slabs inscribed with the entire Buddhist canon, each housed in its own stupa. At the Mahamuni Pagoda, is the revered Mahamuni image, a bronze Buddha estimated to have been cast in the 1st century and now covered in a thick coat of gold leaf. Being a religious center, Mandalay's many monasteries house some 60% of the nation's monks. One of the teachers at the Mahagandayon Monastery gives us a look into the daily life of a monk and an insight into their philosophy.
They stay by age. The youngs, they sleep on the floor, but especially for the monk, they use bed. They wake up 4 o'clock, and 4 to 5, 1 hour meditation, and 5:30, they take their breakfast. And after breakfast, they have to go to the hall, the same hall, all the monks to listen. One of the chief talk to them to behave or to do something in the day. Every morning they have to go to the town to get food for this lunch. And then they eat their own meal. They take as much as they can, but monastery gives them 2 or 3 dishes to eat with the meal. So the rest they share with all the monastery. And after lunchtime, they wash their bowl and they wash their hands, and then they take rest at least half an hour, and 1 to 5 p.m. continuously their class. 6:30, about 6:30, they have chanting. Like I told you, this is like my place. They have to come and respect the Buddha by chanting before they go to sleep, and they have to take half an hour meditation. And then 10 o'clock they all go to sleep, and 4 o'clock wake up again. The Buddhism is not like any other religion because we say chanting here, just the goodness of Buddha. We don't praise to get something from the Buddha or to take care of us. Yeah, not like other religion because they just say try to do better. That's why Buddha always advised to all human beings to make it better and better day by day. This is the teaching of Buddha.
Faith is the basis of daily life for everyone. The temples and monasteries are supported with generosity and enthusiasm. Donation Day is a happy event when everyone brings money and daily items to the monasteries. Every young boy will enter the monastery for a short time to receive religious training. Before he enters, his family holds a big celebration, and the boy is dressed in opulent finery before having his head shaved and donning the monk's robes.
These peoples, it is the Papa and Mama, they celebrate this ceremony. The ceremony is the novitiation ceremony. We make these wines to become a novice. This afternoon, there will be a small monk. Whenever we make that kind of ceremony, we used to invite all of our friends. We invite and we supply them the food like this, for breakfast or lunch or dinner or something like that, yeah. Also, anybody...
Mandalay is the heart of the master craftsmen and artisans of Myanmar. Entire sections of the city are devoted to their skills. The pounding of gold to form gold leaf, skilled wood carvers, stone carvers, bronze casting, talented silversmiths, weavers, tapestry makers, and the makers of marionettes. The marionette theater dates back many centuries and was popular in the royal courts. Heading up the historic Burma Road into the hills east of Mandalay, we find the old British hill station of Pianulu. The British came here to escape the hottest days on the plains and always found the air here cool and fresh. The best way to tour this old colonial town is by one of the small local stagecoaches. And at night, by a campfire, enjoy the culture of the Kachins. As we cast off from Mandalay, we will stop on the opposite bank of the Irrawaddy at Mingun. Here is the world's largest pile of bricks. This unfinished stupa, begun in 1790 by King Bodapaya, is solid brick and is 163 feet high. The deep fissures were caused by a massive earthquake in 1838. Nearby is the Mingun Bell, cast in 1808. At 12 feet in height and 16 feet in diameter, it is the world's largest hanging, uncracked bell. But now the golden afternoons on the Irrawaddy call to us as we head ever northward. New bends in the river reveal small villages and the opportunity to observe life along the banks. The marketplaces are a sensory overload of the best kind. Pungent aromas of chilies, turmeric, garlic, and ginger. Everything overflowing with the exotic. Our never-ending discoveries include things unique to Myanmar. The favorite pastime game of chinlin, keeping airborne a woven rattan ball. The popular cosmetic Tanaka, which is a kind of bark ground to a paste and applied to the skin as a conditioner and a sunscreen. As Kipling observed,
I seed her smoking a whacking white cheroot,
which is an amazingly large cigar made of tobacco and spices, and the ever-popular chewing of betel nut, a reca nut and lime paste wrapped in a betel leaf. The combination turns the teeth and mouth a dark red. Jaggery is a daily staple, a type of brown sugar. Sap is collected from the toddy palm and boiled down to form this delicious sweet. Reaching the Tibetan jetty, we find the river station and gateway to Magok, home to the finest rubies in the world. Winding our way through teak forests into the rich green mountains, we make our way to the mountain basin of Maguk, a bustling town thriving on the gem industry. The rich alluvial gravels yield the finest rubies and sapphires in the world. The famous pigeon blood rubies have been sought after throughout the ages. It's not just larger mining companies involved. Everyone in the community is involved. People searching for gems, polishing gems, making fine jewelry, or selling gems, like here at a local gem market.
That's a panel, yeah. This is a zircon.
How much?
I'm your better.
The area is populated mainly by Burmans, but as in anywhere in Myanmar, there are many other ethnic groups. There is a large population of Nepalis, descendants of the famous Gurkha rifles, hired out of Nepal by the British during World War II, and who stayed in Myanmar. Living in the mountains around Maguk are also the Lisu. Immigrants from the Tibetan plateau, they made their way through China to settle in Myanmar. This all-Christian village was settled in 1913 by one of the last groups to immigrate. Our river path continues, unveiling more magic with each new bend. A stop at Schweit Village reveals a town famous for its pot making. Pots that are sent to every corner of the country. This pot-making village is a good example of the cottage industries that are a mainstay of the people. Home industries include everything from elegant ox cart craftsmen to fine lacquerware artisans, rubber plantations, to umbrella makers, teak farms, logging with the family elephants, to rice and cabbages, blanket making, to raising silkworms. Everything goes to market, and the markets are run by the women, pretty as flowers in their colorful long G's, but all business nevertheless. We now reach Katha. Katha is the site of George Orwell's famous book, Burmese Days, a story of what life was like in a remote Asian station during the colonial era. The town is still as charming with its teak homes and quaint streets. Katha was also the site in World War II where the British scuttled hundreds of flotilla ships to deny them to the advancing Japanese armies. Paul Strachan gives us some insight as to what happened.
They sank the hulls in 1942, and very quickly the superstructures made of timber would have rotted away. It's all under the water, buried in the sand, at least a couple hundred. Some of them didn't get this far. Some of them were abandoned further down the river around Mandalay. But a large number got up here, and all the Siam class, the ones that were 3 to 6 foot long, the largest class of vessel, which were paddle steamers, licensed to carry 4,000 deck passengers, they all got up here, and they sank them just out here, 4 abreast, and they machine gunned the hulls with Bren guns. It was quite thin steel, so they sank quite easily. And then they got in their cars and drove across these mountains to India. The Japanese is one day behind them.
Today, many of these old ships are being dredged up from the river to be rebuilt.
So, as I understand, they will pump the silt out, they'll use divers to get all the debris out, all the ballast out. In the dry season, the hull will be exposed, and then they dig it out. And then the next monsoon, it floats off, and they sail it away.
The remains can still be seen of Japan, the Grand Flotilla steamer that once carried King George V and Queen Mary up the Irrawaddy. Above Katha is Bamo, the end of the Irrawaddy that is navigable, and some 900 miles from our beginning at Yangon. Bamo is one end of a famous old caravan trail into China, only a track through the mountains. It was centuries old when Marco Polo discovered it in the 13th century. The route is still in use today. Truly, Myanmar is a land that stirs the imagination. And the kindness of the people will grab your heart.
For the temple bells are calling, And it's there that I would be, by the old Myanmar pagoda, looking lazy at the sea, on the road to Mandalay, where the flying fishes play, and the dawn comes up like thunder, out of China, across the bay.
It's here in Nevada County, West Nile virus. It causes illness and in some cases, even death. It's spread by mosquitoes and affects people, horses, birds, and squirrels. The virus arrived in 2004, and it's been increasing ever since. Dawn and dusk are when mosquitoes are out, so be especially careful then. Close the screens and shut those doors. It's best to wear long pants and long sleeves. Use a repellent that contains DEET on exposed skin. If you spot a dead bird or squirrel, call 877-WNV-BIRD. Mosquitoes breed in standing water, so empty anything with standing water. Protect yourself and remember the 6 Ds. Dawn and dusk, doors and windows, dress, DEET, drain, and dead birds. Find out more at mynevadacounty.com.
Welcome to Sunday worship services here at the